Looking for 3 on Aphelios, things like this. The Azir just wants to stack as much as he possibly can. And it is going to be later in the game that KT will get well and truly out of control. Aurelia, though, is just broken, so she's just going to be strong all the time. Unless Summit can really keep her down. You can see he's taken Airy already, just to make sure that harassment is at a maximum.
Yeah, just abuse the fact that she is a melee champion. What I'm, looking at for KT here too is, even though their comp is, as you mentioned, at strongest later on in the game, if you make a small mistake, and not just talking about the Cannon matchup where that can really fall apart, but just in general around the first few Drake fights and the Herald control, like KT's comp is it so volatile that if it does actually end up getting some really nice skirmishing done, especially post 6 for Dove, then you can really get a massive lead. In the game, your power can actually happen way before the late game, and then you always have that to fall back on. And it's a very dangerous comp for that reason. The Live Sandbox need to respect it, but also they need to play around where their comp is strongest at the mid game. So it's a very thin line, I think, that Live Sandbox have to play in this game. They are the stronger team mechanically, we know this, but it's not going to be an easy game.
No, absolutely right. As Fate with his Airy as well, we've got a lot of Aries going on here. As, of course, this is the more recent trend on the Lucian to try and maximize that harassment. Is Dove going to start drinking that corrupting potion as early as he possibly can, but he's got his own area, so Fate is going to be taking a bit of damage here. Of course, the minions helping out. Misses one of those creeps, but we're going to try not to nitpick too much.
Yeah, not too much. Not yet, anyways. We'll get into that later. Yeah. Dove 0-2, actually, on his namesake champion here this season.
A little bit sad, isn't it?
Yeah.
Maybe it's just getting him back for the fact that Azir is in fact a pigeon, not a dove.
Yeah, it's a little bit off on that one.
It's just a different bird.
A little bit off on that one, but that's okay. Who said we weren't going to nitpick?
Well, KT getting the shove here on this bottom side. 5Kid utilizing his Calibrum quite nicely here, as the Q is going to affect effort just a little. Summit, yeah, this is what happens.
Yeah.
You stack up that pass if you have a pretty good time, and Aurelia can roll over the top of this one.
And let's not forget, this is Doran, right? This is not just any top laner. This is the type of player who loves to play this style, loves to be aggressive. And we have a lot of top laners like this in the LCK. Rascal, another player who would love to get the Aurelia. Even Birdall, who's now kind of taking this spot, who's also kind of our new resident Aurelia main here in the LCK. Like, these types of players will, if you give them an inch, take a mile, and will, really start to push those advantages. And if you end up having some support up here too, like if Gideon hovers this lane and Summit gets camped, like that can be a win condition for KT, absolutely.
Well, that was actually a pretty decent trade there from Summit, landing the Q. Of course, that was the buff onto Cannon, so we have been seeing a lot more Q-Max Cannons, as we're seeing a little bit more aggression on the bottom side, but Jonas Strong doesn't want to watch it, as we've got to fight for a Scuttle Crab, and that is a little bit more interesting. Q going to connect onto Gideon, but Doran has the inside track, so he will guarantee this one. Yeah,
this is really nice. Use that top prio to grab potentially double Scuttle. Now, mid prio does, of course, go to Fate at the moment.
Oh,
Jeez.
Yeah, there's the double tap. Fate's down to 250. Gideon just going to walk on through.
Like, Fate might be dead here.
Does have Flash and Relentless Pursuit, so he should be okay.
Yeah, that was actually really scary. If he does not flash the stun, could absolutely die. And I was like, he should know that Gideon is coming, but you know what? With his position there, I wasn't 100% confident, but he's fully fine.
No, Prince!
Yikes.
That's actually really big.
That's actually a ton of money stolen.
As Doran going to take a turret shot, but Summit takes way more, as he's going to have that minion wave delivered towards the turret. Looks like Summit should be able to just teleport back, and that should make things all okay. Prince looking to go back home, spend that Scuttle money.
Yeah, you got to spend it.
Oh, yeah.
Got to get an advantage out of it. As this mid matchup has ended up being a bit of a yo-yo in terms of where the prio is going, but Dove should, in general, be able to keep this pushed and harass so successfully.
Yeah, it's like whenever Fate goes in, he just has to sacrifice so much of his health bar, as that corrupting potion now completely used up.
Looks like he wanted to bait something here for Croco, potentially, and it's successful in the idea, but Dove has vision, so...
Yeah, they know exactly what's going on here. Is okay, Q connects, but Dove going to shift the sands, gets himself out of the way. They're just looking to try and get this shove working. Fate a little bit greedily steps forward to grab these minions, as that's a great sidestep from Croco to make sure that Gideon isn't able to get that stun. So Fate gets that wave shove towards the turret and will be able to get the back that he was looking for.
That was actually really scary on both sides there in the mid lane. Okay, stun.
Right. Pretty good stun there. Is good from Summit to get his out on time. Stuns across the board there. Flawless duet into the Mark of the Storm stun.
It was very much, it looked like I was watching, you know, cars slide on ice, like on a YouTube video, and I'm like, ooh, this is going to end badly, but like actually nobody crashed into each other and everything was okay, and those mid exchanges.
강타 돌아
All the
이제.
sea lions were okay.
어이구 어이구.
Call. Oh boy.
괜찮아.
괜찮아.
괜찮아. 상대 정글 펀.
There was definitely a lot of fear there that there was going to be a rotation down, so that's why they commit there to push away. I guess, you know, Krako's not too upset about his smite, or rather his scuttle being taken. It's all good.
Trusts Prince to be able to get some work done with the extra money that he's picked up, as right now you can see very even on the bottom side. And Prince just building towards that shield where you can see. Pierce going to do a lot of damage there to 5kid, who now doesn't have his Gravitum anymore.
Okay, level 6.
Yep.
That's
Let's
a
see whether
huge
the Slicing Maelstrom's going to work. As I think Doran knew he was dead, but he decides to Blade Surge his way back in. Not exactly optimal, and doesn't have teleport to get himself back here. Effort should be able to get information about Gideon.
I want to watch that again, because with the stun he has there and the flash, he might have been able to get out of there. But he commits back in, and obviously if Krako is not there, then he's in a good position to actually win that exchange. But Gideon looking for this, and he will get away with it. Effort was standing by, so at least they trade that back on the map.
Bit of a bodyguard or something like that. Not entirely sure. Just wanted to say that you're doing this on my terms, Gideon.
Yeah, I want to watch this again because Krako, yeah, is seen here, and he gets the stun and goes back in. It's hard to say because Summit can, of course, follow him there and get the stun regardless, has his own flash.
If he flashes, then
Summit just follow flashes him.
Yeah, and also Krako can flash Q, and there's not really much of a way of getting out, but that way you don't get any flashes?
Yeah, in this case, like he values his flash over 2 flashes potentially, and it definitely was the path of least resistance for Doran is to not use his flash because
assuming that he'd just die anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
Getting flashes for it is always a decent idea. Gives Gideon the opportunity to head up and try and cause a bit of a ruckus.
Either way, it's a really nice start here for Live Sandbox, so they're able to get that pick onto the Aurelia. You know, really early Oblivion Orb for Summit, making it a lot easier to lane, and now he's got 2 Amp Tomes, so he's having a pretty decent time. He's actually playing this out very well.
Yeah.
It's one of the ways we talked about KT maybe could snowball a lead, is to kind of eliminate the Kennen's relevancy from the game, and that's just not happened here.
No. Summit well and truly even with Doran right now, and having helped out with that first blood, certainly going to be great news as well. 3.5 minutes on the Mountain Drake, which will be the second. We've got either a Cloud or an Infernal. I believe we've already had an Infernal Drake, Infernal Soul so far today, so I'm looking for a Cloud personally. Non-biased, of course.
Yeah, I mean, given your history, I think that might be where we're headed, but I don't want to make any assumptions just yet. As Rift Herald fight is going to be the next step here. Notice that Prince is staying bottom so that Aphelios can't free farm. That's one of the things that you can do as KT if you just posture here.
Yep. Hard Blaze coming on out. Just tags up Dove. You can see Prince and 5kid here towards the bottom side. You can see Prince not having the greatest time in the 1v1. Krako will just clear out some vision.
The skirmishing power of both these teams is really strong, but Kennen is going to be amazing if he can actually get in and Slicing Maelstrom on top of this. KT have to make a tough call if they're going to commit here or not.
I feel like if the initial salvo doesn't work well for Live Sandbox, though, Doran just rolls over the fight. So I think it's, definitely dicey on both sides. As Fate now trying to get some control of this mid lane, but not exactly finding much success there. You can see Dove able to get those Sand Soldiers out.
And even
Fate.
Even with Prince staying bottom, Aphelios is winning that exchange pretty hard, getting a lot of extra value there. And again, KT's comp scales better, so as Live Sandbox, the onus is on you to make something happen here. KT, if you're going to go, oh, okay, you're going to happy feet around this and not actually commit, they're happy for that.
Oh, this is an odd rotation, though. There's the flash in, the kickback as well is going to secure this kill. Look at the chain CC. It's just beautiful as the culling is going to be entirely eaten by Doran. And now he's trying to get in there. The flash over the wall, but it's not enough. effort with the extraordinarily long arm is going to bop him right over that wall, and Liv Sandbox will just grab themselves Shelly. Bit of a whoopsie there from KT.
Yeah, the rotation, like you said, the positioning there of that kind of path they took, I guess is the best way to put it, just allows Summit to get so much value with his engage in. And that was a bit of a whoopsie, as you put it. I think it's a nice way to put it. And the thing is, this is actually disastrous for KT Rolster, because now you've given over a ton of gold in terms of those 3 kills, but also control the top side of the map to what is Kennen, who can, start to fall behind, right? There can be a lot of resources given there, but now you're behind as Aurelia into this Kennen matchup, which never happened. And this angle is so bad for KT against the engage tools that Liv Sandbox have, because they can slicing males from this, they can have the Croco kick there, and you're just kind of stuck in a place where there's no way out. And then the flash is used for the Aurelia too, which feels terrible.
해도 돼.
And he's like, no, we can do this, we can do this, we can do this. Go. And
야,
like,
비고.
he just ends up
비고.
killing
오케이.
Viego. He's like,
Okay,
scaling out Viego.
천천히.
He's like, I got him.
빠지면서,
The angle here was so
빠지면서,
bad for
빠지면서.
them. And then Aurelia
빠지면서.
comes through, but they have so much CC to lock her
Okay.
down.
야, 전략
I mean,
쓸게.
now it's just a free Rift
오,
Herald.
크로커.
I don't think I need to translate that one for you guys.
Oh, Croco. That was great. And yeah, Croco popped off. And it was mispositioning from KT to begin it all, but beautiful capitalization there from Croco, who's now going to deliver Shelly to the bottom side of the map, potentially. We do have Fate's Call, of course, level 8 on this Callista as 5-Kid. Going to be walking away. Bit of a sore back after that Pierce came through.
Drake is up here too. Ultimate control here for Liv Sandbox on the map. We can use this Rift Herald in mid or bottom to guarantee a lot of extra prio. And notice the pushing power that even Summit has. Now he's trying to secure the scuttle.
Well, Gideon going to dive on in there with the ultimate. Summit does have flash available as Mark of the Storm comes down and Gideon takes half of his health, and Summit will just be delivered this Rift Scuttler. So once again, a bit of an odd situation there as, okay, Croco finally manages to get that Rift Scuttler that he so desired from earlier on. And just a lot of respect given to the 102 Kennen here, who is so strong right now.
Yeah, I have to say, this is looking better and better for Liv Sandbox every moment, because they're capitalizing on these small advantages so well. They're punishing super hard. And KT, remember we talked about this in the team stats. They're one of the fastest losing teams in the LCK. When they are behind, they often take extreme risks to try to catch up. And this feels like another of those games where KT are trying to force this.
Well, there's the instant cleanse out from Prince, who's trying to now get out of there. 5-Kid in a bit of trouble. Summit is boosting on over. The Solar Flare, though, will connect, and now 5-Kid, can he actually pick up the counter kill? The answer's going to be no, as Prince looking to try and hop his way through here. The Dragon gets a bit mad, but not mad enough to actually kill the Aphelios, who will limp his way out with no summoners left remaining but his life.
Yeah, summoner spells, of course, used for Summit, additionally in this fight, too, so that's a bit of a painful one. But the thing is, this is another one of those examples of exactly what I was saying, is KT trying to really force the square peg into the round hole in a lot of these scenarios. Your comp already scales better. You don't have to force these engages. They almost end up getting a double kill against them when they attempt this, as Prince is actually totally fine to stay here.
Yeah, Gideon not going to be able to find the stun, and therefore Prince just hops around, just happy as Larry, as my father would say.
Not the greatest start here in this game for Gideon. He's really looking to force a lot of opportunities, but he's failed, unfortunately, every time he's tried for it. And this is finally going to be the straw that breaks the Dragon's back.
Well, KT did manage to get the first one, so a little bit of a dampener as far as, you know, picking up the soul is concerned for Liv Sandbox with their composition.
Oh, fire.
Oh, no, it is Infernal. Wow, this Liv Sandbox just high rolling. Pretty ludicrous. Maybe I'm just salty because my Cloud Dragon didn't come in.
Hey, look, we got at least one more game left after this, so it could still happen.
Oh, cute. Oh, what? Oh, that definitely skimmed his plumage.
Yeah, the little point of that shuriken just like gave him a little bit of an ouchie.
Yeah.
It's like he got tapped by a toothpick or something.
It's like grazed the tail feather.
It didn't do damage, but it definitely made him feel uncomfortable. Well, someone is going to catch this wave. Right now, Liv Sandbox are going to struggle to force a team fight, unfortunately. Until this next Rift Herald is up, there's not a whole lot to fight for. And, you know, KT still in a position where they can kind of sit back and farm. They're behind, but it's not a scenario where unless they end up, trying to force a lot of fights and try to catch up here where they're not going to fall too far behind. This is still a very winnable game. The Irelia being behind is one of the biggest weird question marks for KT with this comp because they end up falling apart on the top side of the map. Like, we talked about how, this could be a place where KT find a lot of advantage. This is the opposite, in fact.
Oh, there's the culling. Dove going to have to shift his way out, and he does so. But now, feels like this lane has certainly turned around as Effort gets out of the way of Gideon. Gideon's just not been able to find anything so far this game, and as we do move closer and closer to 3,000 gold in the lead for Liv Sandbox.
Doran doesn't have a turret to operate under anymore, so he's essentially not going to be around for a lot of these upcoming objectives necessarily unless he split pushes really deep. As Gideon once again make an appearance here. Fatal catch the entire wave. I'm worried about how these fights are going to break out for KT and on this next Herald. I think you have to let that one go on the next Drake, which is going to be, again, only the second Drake for Liv Sandbox. You mentioned the dampening of the effect there with KT getting the first one. Yep. But later on, they're going to have to be better grouped up. They're going to have a little bit more map control than they have now to start these fights off. We can talk about the scaling all you want about the Azir and the Aphelios, but that in itself is not going to win you this game. You're going to have to be proactive. You're going to have to remove a lot of that vision. You're going to have to use this Irelia to split push.
Oh, yeah. And I think that they do have enough disengage and options here on KT's side. The Azir, of course, can put up a big old wall to stop people from getting through. And then if you do have Doran in that side lane, then you should be able to get some work done. But I'm just worried the coordination here from Liv Sandbox has been really good. As you can see, KT moving on forward, looking to try and get some sort of contest down. All 5 members of KT will get towards the river as Fate not actually there, and Prince going to settle for the outer turret on the bottom side. So Liv Sandbox, they will just give this one up and try and get some extra power here around the rest of the map. Half the health bar on the outer turret in the mid lane as Dove is going to turn up and just put Prince underneath the turret, but picks up aggro towards the end there as now a fight breaks out in the mid lane. Zeus going to get booted, but he is going to be alive. A little bit unfortunate, sort of taxis his way out. As speaking of taxiing out, Prince is just going to be able to take the long way around, and he will be absolutely fine as well, as Liv Sandbox going to reap the reward and take down this outer turret in the mid lane. Effort now looking for Gideon potentially, who's going to blast cone his way out thanks to the Infernal Rift. And so somehow, in the end, Liv Sandbox find the mid-outer turret, and that is going to be their reward.
It's just beautiful macro play from Liv Sandbox. They know where KT's bodies are on the map, and they know how to punish that. They start the Rift Herald first, force the rotation from KT. KT decide they're going to group to fight that, but because they know Prince is not there, right? And then, they give up the Rift Herald. Prince gets the push off, so you see the commitment of Dove to try to deal with that Kalista on the bottom side of the map. He's unsuccessful, and then everybody from KT has to rotate over, and then the mid push is where you find the success as Liv Sandbox. They're just using this lead so effectively right now in a game where they have such mid-game power, like you mentioned in the draft. Like, look at how much value they get out of Lucian's culling here. Like, Fate is able to get 2 health bars down to, about 10%, and then at the same time, your mid laner's not there, so guess what? You get a free turret. Fate makes a big play. You see Prince get away. He walks away scot-free, staying even with this Aphelios and farm right now. And this is exactly where you want to be as Liv Sandbox with the lead they have.
Looking forward to seeing how it's going to go as the game gets further and further on, right? Because we need to see the positives from KT, because their composition in the later stage of the game, man, like Aphelios, Irelia, Azir, like terrifying. But they haven't been given too many opportunities, and when they have, they've failed.
Yeah.
Just have to see them shore things up, try and get these fights working out. And maybe in 5 seconds' time, that's going to be their opportunity, as that will be the first Infernal Drake of the game.
It's a hard call to make. Both top laners have teleport here, but you don't have the advantage of Drake positioning as KT. I don't think you can actually fight for this. They're going to try for it.
Zenith Blade is going to get Zeus in there as the explosive cast just for the disengage. A teleport comes down, and Zeus flashes on top of the entering cannon. And now the rest of KT looking to try and collapse. Summit going to get tagged once again by the Zenith Blade. Does have flash, uses it to get away, but immediately gets booted out of there. Fate now having to dash his way through as Croco gets the kick, and it looks like Liv Sandbox are going to have to give this one up.
Yeah, a lot of chasing there from Liv Sandbox when they could have just been happy to take the flash from Zeus after that failed engage and take the Drake, but they wanted to actually teleport Summit in and look for a big fight there with a slicing Maelstrom. But unfortunately, he didn't use it right when he got in because he was almost burst down. Well, that was close.
And actually, KT didn't collapse on him, so he walks his way out. Prince was there, though, I guess, so he's going to be all right, has some backup.
Yeah, and this is another one of those scenarios where, as Live Sandbox, you also have to understand that if you make mistakes like this in these fights, you lose your tempo advantage.
I really like that Croco recognized that he lost the Smite War, so he won the other one. As now Fate getting out of the way of Doran. Good sidestep on the Q. As okay, he dashes forward. That could be the opportunity here for KT. As Doran looking for another Blade Surge, doesn't find it. Croco lands the Q, but Gideon dashes out. And Live Sandbox, another minion wave delivered to a turret. This one extraordinarily low. So they will just be able to pick that one up. Yeah, exactly.
They're going to look for more here. To be so careful right now. Aphelios is mid and they know it. They're going to try to push the envelope here. In terms of the aggression, you do see the rotation of Prince over to catch that wave now, and that's going to be that. But a lot of the tempo taken away here from Live Sandbox with that Drake being removed, because now you're 3 Drakes out of getting that Infernal Soul, which is actually really massive. And this fight is actually like really well handled by Live Sandbox. The Zenith Blade comes in and Zeus is like, oh, better get out of here, right? Does end up flashing over the wall. Then the teleport from Summit comes through, and I think at this moment, you don't have to chase any further, and Summit could just leave. But he gets Zenith Bladed here, so they decide, okay, we're going to actually engage. Notice he flashes in with his ult there, and is able to help Effort get out, but this is just such a decisive win for KT at that moment. The team is a little bit disjointed in how they want to fight this out. They lose control of the Drake.
I was so sure that Summit was going to flash out that I believe I said that in the play-by-play because I was so ready for it to happen. And then he decided to flash in and die.
Yeah, it was not ideal.
No, suboptimal.
You were definitely right about what should have happened there.
Sometimes we make some assumptions, because the mouth has to move faster than the brain sometimes. As, okay. Croco looking for the wraparound. Dove going to be spotted here, as this tower does not exist until it does. Dove going to set one up for himself as Zeus looking to get on in here. The Solar Flare at the ready, I believe, as of course the icon can be confusing at times, but that one is available.
Yeah, it almost looks like it's got
It's like it's always almost off cooldown.
Yeah. That one got me when I first started casting League. I'm like, I think he has it. No, he does have it, in fact, but you have to respect it. A lot of what Live Sandbox is doing right now is trying to force these small fights, you know, where they're 4v3 for just a second, burst down a single target with that Lucian ultimate, and look for an objective that comes with it. You know, that inner turret on the top side of the map would be exactly what they'd want. If they could kill Dove up there, take that one down, they further their gold lead. But when they're unsuccessful, KT get to free farm. And that's the scariest part about this right now, is KT have Drake advantage and can just sit back very patiently, get those items online.
It's a ticking time bomb. It's what it kind of feels like here for KT. I think we need to see Live Sandbox utilize that beautiful coordination that they had with Croco, getting that pick. They need more of those, because we know that the chain CC from this comp is insane. And they have the follow-up damage as well. It's just that if they do get into these wide open spaces where KT get to pick their battles, I mean, their weapons are bigger.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's part of why Live Sandbox in that last fight around the Drake that they lost, which looked kind of silly, and you had the Summit flashing and all that stuff, they were like starting to feel the pressure of what their comp is, how their comp is going to start to lose its power. It's going to become somewhat obsolete later on, so they really want to hit it hard while they have this advantage with this timing. But losing that Drake actually, I think, is what might actually come back to bite them, you know, almost terminally, if they are unable to control more of this map right now. Because you can see they're trying to make these plays that's getting weaker and weaker by the moment.
It's a little bit dangerous as Effort off to the side. Feels like he's Akshan, you know? He's like, he's just, I'm stealthed. It's fine.
You can't see me.
No one can see me. But they could.
He's kind of a big
body slam out there.
Big champion he's playing. Very glowy as well.
Yeah, this skin is like
the most seen.
Yeah, it's like he always has Guardian active, but he doesn't even have the rune. You know, it's very confusing. As okay, Live Sandbox looking for a bit of a collapse here. Good vision available to Doran.
High value
ward. Going to be completely fine. W just pressed because Doran had it available. Sometimes you just got to do it. Sometimes you got to do your buttons.
And you know, look at the setup here for Dove. He's been given a lot of help to continue to push this. Fate actually has to sit on the turret to catch this wave, unfortunately. He's even going to be harassed here.
Yeah, Dove actually doing a fair bit of damage, as we can see. Luden's complete, as well as his Oblivion Orb. got that stopwatch as well, ready for the next fight, potentially. 5 seconds time on this Drake, as no one really seems to care too much about it. Liv Sandbox closer to the area, fresh off a reset, KT, and it might just be Liv Sandbox locking this one down.
It would be so huge
control
for them, but if they had, you know, like we've the elephant in the room that we've been discussing so much, if they had just backed off on that fight and taken the Drake, this would be sole point.
Yeah.
As it stands, this is 2 Drakes away, so KT are okay with just, I mean, they don't feel great about it, but you're not worried, you're not under threat of this extreme win condition for Liv Sandbox, the Infernal Soul right now. You actually have a little bit more time to farm. That's 5 extra minutes you get from this one.
Yeah, and also delaying the game is good. So share the Drakes out a little bit.
Yeah.
Make sure that you don't get to that Elder stage where if someone gets it, you lose the game, or you win the game, depending on how you roll. That sort of thing.
Yes.
It's certainly good for KT to just extend, as there's the flash in. Gideon going to try and flash away, and is going to be able to do it. Heartbreaker as well, just to be sure. And Gideon survives, but doesn't now have his flash available. Croco the same way, though.
Yeah, his flash or his flash, that is his ultimate either. He's going to be a
the
little
double
bit
flash.
He's a little
I
bit
just said
low
flash, and I'm like, I don't even care if he just ulted.
He's got both gone now, which means that the next time he's caught over the next, you know, few minutes here, he's going to be dead. And it's not the first time this game where he has been caught out of position, but he's trying to fight for vision control. You know, he's trying to give KT a lot more information. As, you know, right now on the map, Liv Sandbox, again, a lot of control here, a lot of vision removed, threatening the Aurelia in the side lane, forcing Doran to play a little bit more passively. This Aurelia isn't getting split push value, actually, very much this game. She's 0 and 2, which hurts you, but she does have 2 items online, and she's having to play on the defensive because there's a lack of vision here for KT Rolster. The ward he had last time, he doesn't have this time, so you got to play it safe.
Yeah, it might be almost too much respect. I just feel like Aurelia might be starting to win relatively soon. It is 3 items to 2, though. I think I might be underestimating the extraordinary amount of plates that Summit smashed down towards the top side, and really has equated to a lot of extra items you see, even off a fresh back. I mean, a Pahage and a Ruby Crystal.
The thing is, too, with the Zonias, that's really the X factor here, because you can buy enough time for Fate to show up, and when you know Fate has teleport, it's a fight that you would win if it was just a 1v1, but it never will be when you have that Zonias there. Got to be super scared about that. As you can see, he's being a little more aggressive right now when everyone else on Liv Sandbox is showing themselves. Now he's starting to push the lane down there on the bottom side.
Look at Liv Sandbox, though, just playing for this Baron control. You can see exactly what they're doing based on all of their vision that they've allocated.
A lot of pings
of the map
on to where Summit is rotating up, just letting KT know Doran is like, hey, he might maelstrom you from behind. You got to be careful. Don't want to get wiped there, because that would be the Baron to Liv Sandbox, but he has teleport. So right now with this vision, once this last ward fades away, like there's an opportunity to start Baron, and Liv Sandbox are going to look for it.
Yeah, Gideon gonna hop into the mist as Effort actually blast cones towards him. This man is not afraid of anything. As you can see, Dove is on the top side. Effort with Body Slam at the ready, can get over the wall if he needs to, as the rest of Liv Sandbox just on the Baron as Fate dashes on over.